Oh, there we go. I was like, we're recording now. Anyways, hey, Griz Nation, we are back. This is Fight on Montana podcast. We are doing a season-ending recording here. Not like how we wanted to end, but we are going to recap the championship game, the season-ending loss, and then go into some details that have just been blowing up our phones and Twitter and everything like that. And yeah, just kind of go over the season. We'll go over the season a little bit more farther down, and we'll kind of break things apart. And Luke and I have some things we want to do and things that we want to do with the pod in the off season. So great things, but man, I know how I felt, and I wasn't there, Luke.
Yeah.
So leading up to this game, it was I did not get much work done. Luke, you actually went for the weekend. So give us the lowdown. How was it? You're back. You have a voice. So
yeah, well, it's finally back all the way. Like I've been the day after I barely had a voice, and then earlier this morning too was still kind of struggling, but it's pretty much all back now. But I headed down early Saturday morning, flew down there. We're staying at the Hilton Lincoln Center where they had all the charter flights and everybody did the packages and stuff. And it was so cool pulling up there, just maroon everywhere. I got in the hotel and it was just Griz fans. That was just packed in there, like getting ready to go on different tours and stuff throughout the day. Right when I walked in, ran into a former teammate of mine, Dylan McFarland. We talked for a while, walked a little farther. I'm sitting there checking in, and all of a sudden get grabbed from behind, and there's John Skinner, and we haven't seen John in a while, so I talked to him a bunch, and just kept running into all sorts of people you knew, and it was just the energy was just awesome. Like people are just excited and stuff. They actually had a Griz shop set up, like it was like the bookstore set up there, selling all sorts of different Griz swag and hats and championship game shirts and just you name it. I mean, if you wanted it. And then the cool thing was like they'd ship it for free back to your house if you wanted. So it was quite the setup and stuff. They did the way that, I mean, the Alumni Association got this all set up, just awesome. Like, I mean, just everything was so easy. They had a desk right there to answer any questions you have, and they're giving you, well, here you go, Griz beads and stuff you could wear. And then you had like a little they gave us all luggage tags, but that basically was your pass for the weekend to get on like the different buses and things like that. So a lot of people, they also had set up different tours that day. So a lot of people went to like the Sixth Floor Museum. That's where Kennedy got assassinated and stuff. And then there's other people went to Jerry's World or AT&T Stadium, did tours there, and they had all that set up during the day. And then a lot of people just did their own thing. For instance, I met my brother and my dad. They showed up a few hours later after spending too much money at the Griz shop. We headed out, found the closest barbecue joint we could find. Drove there. It was called Oaked Barbecue. And if anybody, when we go back to Frisco again, I highly recommend it. But we're in there, and there's all sorts of other Griz fans in there. We're all eating barbecue and stuff. So
that's awesome.
What
did you have for barbecue? That's the.
So I had the brisket, which was awesome, and they had this really good potato salad, and I had some baked beans and stuff too. It was just awesome. And then my brother got this thing called the Governor, and I should have got that. It was like this sandwich with brisket, bacon, something else, and this like specially made orange sauce they put on it. That he had troubles putting the whole thing away. It was so big.
Oh my gosh.
Just awesome barbecue. Like everybody we talked to said how good that place was when we were leaving. So we saw tons of Griz fans. And so at first we were thinking, geez, we don't see a lot of Jacks fans anywhere we went. And in fact, on my plane down, as everybody knows, I live in South Dakota, there was only like 5 Jacks fans and there was 4 Griz fans on my plane. I was surprised. And everybody else that was on there was talking about going to like cruises and stuff like that. Well, as you all saw at the game, there was a ton of Jacks fans down there. I think they all just went a lot earlier than we did because they've been there before. Now that I've been to Frisco, it's like, oh, I get it and stuff. I would definitely go like on a Friday or a Thursday and take in more
I
stuff.
thought you did go on a Friday. You didn't?
No, I went down. I flew out at 5 a.m. on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
I had to work that week, so I couldn't get out of work on Friday. So I flew out early Saturday morning. So
okay.
But yeah, so then after doing all that stuff and hanging out, then they had buses that came there to take us all to Griz Fest, which was held at a like a AAA baseball field.
Yeah, that was. I saw pictures. It's really cool.
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. So you get into the stadium, and they've got this giant Montana Grizzlies sign set out on the center field. They've got the big jumbotron that shows like Griz Fest, and they've got just every score like thing that they can put Griz on. They have in there. They had, I mean, as far as food and beverages, they had beer stands everywhere, food everywhere. So that was really cool. Oh, so the night before I heard about this, some guys were telling me in the hotel they drank him out of beer and had to shut the bar down at 11:30 in the hotel because they were out. Like all they had left was mini beers, and then they ran out of those. So
oh my
god, the hotel wasn't exactly prepared. So the next day we saw them, and we're all headed to Griz Fest, and they're just bringing like pallets of beer. And it was like, well, we're all going to Griz Fest anyways. But we came back afterwards and had a few there at the hotel. But
anyway. I saw a really cool photo that kind of goes with that. That one of the bars, I don't know which bar it was, but they had a U-Haul truck.
Oh wow!
So they filled the U-Haul truck with beer that they would need, and then they threw like ice in it so that they wouldn't have to make an order. They could just have it outside, and they would just keep on like bringing it in.
Yeah, so, the hotel we were at definitely underestimated the alcohol consumption of Griz fans that were there. I guess there was like 800 Griz fans staying at that hotel.
Oh wow!
So, I mean, that's a lot of Griz fans. But like, so we're at the Griz Fest, and there's all sorts of stuff you can go get your picture with. You know, Monty's running around, and again, I ran into so many former teammates and stuff. And then we gathered, and then like Riley was in there talking, and they brought in some former players like Brian Toon from the '95 squad. He talked. They brought Dylan McFarland up. He talked about the 01 squad. Mark Mariani talked for a while and stuff. I mean, it was really well done. I'm sure everybody saw it. The hype video narrated by J.K. Simmons. They played that on the jumbotron for the whole. It was so cool. It was just all of us been watching earlier that day, anyways, on their phones. Played that. The interaction though with all the Griz fans, like we were, John Skinner and I were both talking. It's like you make 2 steps, turn, there's somebody else. Like Johnny Verona showed up. He was there from our 01 squad. Ran into who else? Dane Oliver, Chris Orwig, Shane McIntyre was there. DJ Coulter who played in '95 and his brother played less than 01. It was just like, I mean, there was so many. I couldn't believe how many players were there. Everybody was awesome. There. And then when I was at the game, ran into a bunch more like Trey Young and Colt Palmer and Chris Snyder. And it was just like everybody was showing up. It was so cool to see so many former players there watching. Ton of the 95 guys, a ton of the 01 guys, and a lot of other people too, just all there to watch the Griz. I mean, because it's been, 15 years. And man, I think they said it, that Griz Fest, they estimated it was 10,000 plus fans that we had there.
Really?
There was some fans I was talking to that didn't even have tickets to the game yet. They're like, we came down, we're hoping to get tickets still. So it was just, man, it was cool just running into so many different people and then just like making new friends and talking to people. And like I ran into one guy named Rob Luttrell who we played high school football against each other. And he was cool. The national championship for Carroll College. So I hadn't seen Rob in years. It was cool running into him. I mean, it was just like, gosh, ran into so many people. And just had a great time. And then ran into a ton of fans of our pod too, that listen to the pod and stuff and talking to all those people and stuff and just hearing how much they enjoy us, that, we just do this for fun, but enjoy listening to it because people love Griz content just like us. So it was so cool. And then at the end, they blow off fireworks and stuff too. I mean, it was awesome. And then they had, the nice thing too is like, because there's a whole age range of people there and you may not want to stay the whole time. So they had the buses running to run you back to the hotel, like at any time. Like at one point, my father, who was in his 70s, was like, yeah, I'm tired, guys. So we walked him up, put him on the bus, and then my brother and I went back down and kept having beverages, and it didn't matter because you had the bus ride home. So, I mean, just bravo to the Alumni Association. They did it upright. Like, I was not expecting something that good. It was totally impressive. It was, it wasn't that cold out. It was nice being outside.
Yeah.
At one point, everybody did get in trouble for being on the inner diamond of the baseball field. They're like, Riley's like, we're tearing it up. They're going to kick us out if we don't get off of here. So everybody moved to the outfield. And there's a lot of people that were in the stands too, just chilling out in the stands and sitting and, hanging. So just a awesome time at Griz Fest. It was just a great way to kind of kick off the night before pep rally, and Coach Hauk showed up and talked to everybody and stuff. And he even told everybody, he's like, all right, now when the bar's closed, go to bed. We need you tomorrow. Keep drinking. That was pretty funny. So, but everybody, I think kind of listened to him and didn't party too hard because everybody showed up the next morning when we headed out to the game. And that was cool too. So the next morning we all boarded the buses and they took us right to the tailgates.
Oh, wow.
Hop off. And that's one thing I couldn't believe either. There's so many Griz fans that drove there.
Really?
They had their own tailgates and stuff.
Yeah, they're charging people like $30 to get in for tailgating. So
yeah, that's not bad at all. I was wondering about that because my family's talking, if we go back next year, one of us may drive down or take his rental car and tailgate there because that was cool. Like, it was cool just walking up and down the parking lot and just meeting Griz fans. I actually met Fonz's mom and his aunt, and they played Regulate by Warren G for me because they had the music and tunes going, and it was cool talking to them. Gosh, it's amazing how many fans we ran into, just of different people from all over that showed up, and everybody was generous, handing out beers left and right.
Wow. And
then, we're all sitting in the parking lot and we hear this plane overhead and we look up and there's a plane with a big banner that says Go Griz. No Jack's banner. There's someone, I don't know who spent the money, but I was like, that is money well spent, whoever did that, to fly the plane that says Go Griz over the parking lot in the stadium.
That's awesome.
With this giant banner. So that was really cool. The other thing I think that the players and the staff and everybody was impressed with was the Griz Walk.
The Griz Walk was crazy.
Everybody was just like, okay, here it's coming. And like Leanne from the Alumni Association was tweeting it out like, hey, 10:35, because the Jacks actually went first because they dropped both teams off in the same spot. So we were all over our parking lot. And then the Jacks are there and their band and all that stuff. Well, they went first, and then they moved to their spot because they put them in a whole other parking lot. We weren't tailgating together. They were on the east side in those parking lots, and the Griz were over on the west side. And so they leave, and then we all start filing in and crossing the streets and it was just packed. I mean, all those fans came over there, and so when their players are coming off, everybody's hollering, and you could tell like some of them were just trying to stare down because it was a big deal. And I've been in the Griz Walk at the stadium quite a few times, and it's always easy to get a spot and stuff. And it was just, 5 people deep on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
It was so cool seeing the support and stuff. And yeah, the experience was unbelievable. And then, getting into the stadium, the lines were super long. It went so fast. Like, we were in. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, they have it down. We were in.
Wow.
That was because I know that's a complaint like at our stadium.
Yeah.
How long it takes to get in. They're wanting you and stuff, and confiscating drinks. You can't bring drinks in. And then once you get in there, that's why all the fans are still there at halftime, because you can get beer right there. Well, and here's the crazy thing too. At that stadium, they have QR codes on the seats. You can scan it to order beer to your seat, order food to your seat if you don't feel like going up. Oh yeah. It's
what?
Yeah.
Wow.
I can see why. People are like, oh, it's a soccer stadium and stuff. Well, I get why they have it there. Like, it's layout and stuff. The town of Frisco too. I've heard other people go on to different bars and stuff that like turn themselves into Griz bars or Jack's bars and stuff. And they do it up right.
Yeah.
I was just overly impressed. Like, now that I've been there once, I'm like, yep, we got to go back because I want to go back now. I know what to do down there and stuff.
Yep.
It was just so much fun. And the stadium, the layout's easy. It's easy to find your seats. They got people there with little things of how may I help you? Like, and so I was like, I'll just ask the guy. I was like, hey, where's this section? He goes, yep, 2 down right there. That's where you're going to go. was like, oh,
Wow.
they make it super easy. And the field looked like it was good, in good shape. I think it's cool how they paint both, end zones. I
End
mean, they had a
zones.
bowl game there, and this blows that bowl game out of the
Oh
water.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Something else that I just saw tonight that Jim O'Day posted on social media. He heard that they're doing an expansion of that stadium. They're going to make it
Really?
bigger.
They're gonna
Yeah,
make it
there's.
bigger, like going up, or
I'm not sure if they're going up. He didn't say exactly, but there's an expansion that's supposed to be getting announced in the next few days. Now,
wow.
in that one, I think it's the north end zone.
Because they had that like bands over there that kind of
Yeah,
had that open.
that's where they
like,
had the bands.
Yeah.
That was really cool how they have both bands kind of together. I thought that was
Yeah.
cool in their own thing. There's a ton of room there for them to expand.
Huh.
I mean, they could put a bunch of seats in that area.
Yeah.
So I could see them doing that and just bringing it kind of around.
All right.
And
Yeah.
and that would add, they could probably add another couple thousand right there.
Wow.
But I get why they keep going to Frisco. It's just the venue's good.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing was pretty dang, and what was well done.
Well, and I heard that the town it's so seamless, and I heard the town just really loves it, and
Yeah.
and I think that the businesses there really kind of go all in and kind of make it
They totally do.
lively for the fans, and I think that that's great because
Yeah.
I had a friend that went to Chattanooga,
Mhm.
and he said it was nuts. It was not even like a high school stadium. Like it was like not great because he went to the 09 championship.
That stadium was big there. Like,
Yeah.
it did a lot of people, but yeah,
He
it's
said
not
it was
like
so far apart that it
Yeah.
was like just like really hard to watch.
Yeah, this is different. I mean, there's just looking around. I don't think there's really a bad seat in the place. I mean, it was just, and the way they do it too, how they have separate both sides, and it's just packed. And it amazed me how many South Dakota State fans were there, because I really thought you didn't see him. But then I talked to some other Griz fans that did their own thing and booked hotels. Like, one of my friends, Brock, was at a hotel, and he goes, "I think I'm the only Griz fan there." Just full of Jacks. He's like, "I didn't know." It's kind of. I think the Jacks fans, because they'd been there last year, knew the layout of the land. Well, now I feel like now that we've been there, the fans have all gone. We kind of understand it now. It's like, okay, here's how this works. And so, we'll talk about this later. I looked at the schedule for next year, and
it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It looks pretty good.
So, it's just, I mean, if you didn't go, I would highly recommend, like yourself, highly recommend if we go back, figuring out a way. So, like I said, it was me and my dad and my brother, and we got back. My wife and daughter are both going to go if we make it back, and my mom is like, "I'm going. I don't care next time." So, like they heard how much fun we had. I mean, even though we didn't come out like we wanted to, we lost.
Yeah.
Like we talked about before, it's like we were playing with house money. Like, we were there, and the experience was great. It didn't happen like we wanted to. Even after the game, like, we get back to the hotel, and Griz fans are hanging out and talking, and it wasn't like that, woe is me. It was just like everybody was talking about how great the season was.
Yeah.
It's like, man, this was a great season. It was so much fun. Yes, we didn't come out on top, but man, I haven't had this much fun in a Griz season in a long time. Like, I mean, the revenge tour, going through and beating everybody, and then beating the crap out of the neighbors 37-7, and then those amazing 2 overtime wins in the playoff. I mean, those are some of the most epic, wins we've ever seen. I mean, it's just
it was high after high.
Yeah, high. It was high after high after high.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it would have been so cool to get that W. But I think also that experience of going there is something to be said to that. Like, I feel like our team now understands it more and stuff, and what it takes to be down there. Because it almost felt like South Dakota State, because they'd been there before, they were kind of ready for the whole, to do and all the other stuff that comes along with it and stuff. And it's just, it was awesome. And I mean, the stuff too that the university was putting out on the way up to it, like the different interviews, and like Riley Wilson's family bringing the whole team up there, like that barbecue, that was cool. And then
that place was amazing.
Yeah,
like I saw some like video of that, and I'm like,
dude, it was like the Yellowstone Ranch or something. I was like, holy cow, man!
I'm like, good lord, like man, like that place looked amazing. I was like, I want to go there. Like, holy
that was so cool. Like, And then did you see the video that they did of the players with their parents talking to them?
Yes, that was a
That was,
tearjerker.
oh my gosh. I
Especially
mean,
like Gubbs when he was like, "I gotta go call my dad." I'm
oh,
like,
when he
"Oh
said
my
that, oh, I know. I'm
gosh."
just like choking up, man. It was cool. I mean,
Yeah.
the university this year,
They did a really
all
good job.
aspects, I feel like they've done just an amazing job.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it just the way that they bring everybody together so we all feel like we're part of the team and part of the journey and stuff. And I
Yeah.
mean, and too, I mean, all the Grizz fans showing up there. I mean, we showed out. I mean, there was a ton of Grizz fans, and man,
So, Griz fans and South Dakota fans, like at the stadium, like what percentage do you think it was? There's probably more South Dakota State fans just because they bought
yeah.
their tickets in probably in a year in
Well,
advance.
I think that's a lot of it. They bought their tickets early.
Yeah.
On the high side, I'd say 60-40.
Okay.
It's probably more like 55-45.
Okay.
I mean, like, so the both sides, one side was pretty much all Jacks, one side was all Grizz.
Yeah.
The end zone kind of wrapped over in the back, and it was mainly Jacks fans, it looks like.
Okay.
So it was probably, like I said, 55-45, or maybe worst case 60-40. But here's the thing that I have heard, because I living in South Dakota, I know a lot of Jacks fans, and they've all been actually really nice and like had tons of good. They're like, your team is probably one of the best teams we played all year. Like, they were impressed with our team. On my flight back, I was the lone Grizz fan on the flight back, and it was loaded with Jacks fans. Felt kind of weird getting on the plane, but because I was wearing my Grizz gear, I was just like, yep, but none of them were like, they were all just had nothing but good things to say.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to say is, like, the Jacks fans I know that were there and talked to said that we were by far way louder than they were. They were like, when you guys had, and I couldn't tell because I was yelling as loud as I possibly could on defense. But they were like, it was so loud. We couldn't believe how loud you guys were.
Yeah, I've heard that too. A couple of them have reached out to me.
All the Grizz fans that were hollering, and
yeah,
because there was a lot of I don't want to say this, but elderly Grizz fans that were there. And holy cow, were they screaming and yelling? Just like, and just getting lubed up before the game. And I mean, like, oh, this was really cool too. So, like, Alumni Association messaged me before the game. They're like, hey, get this out. Peaburg gave us, we're getting a bunch of free Phillipsburg beer that we're going to give away. So I got that out there, and it was gone. Like, I got there, I thought, oh, I'm going to get one. Gone. Like, it was gone so fast. Like,
that's
there was
awesome.
a lot, but it was gone quick. But, like, even then, it didn't matter. Like, the Grizz fans were just like, because it was BYOB to the tailgates, right?
Yeah.
You walk by one, people are throwing them to you if you want.
Oh,
hey,
wow.
You need one? Just, I mean, it was so cool.
That's awesome.
So my brother and I walked around with a bottle of Fireball, and that went quick. Like, just passing out shots and gone. I got to meet Brian Hunt finally. I couldn't find him at the tailgates, but Brian, man, he's an awesome guy, and just like, I can't wait to go check his tailgate. I promise I'm going to go to his tailgate next year during the games, because
I've heard it's legendary.
Oh, it's legendary. He's the king of tailgates. So
yeah,
but like, so many Griz fans there, and just fun talking football with them, whether it was in the hotel, Griz Fest, before the game, during the game. Just awesome atmosphere. I mean, like, during the game, people hugging, high-fiving, hollering. I mean, it was just a good time.
Yeah, I definitely regret not going, but you got to do what you got to do. But next year, hopefully, we'll be back and we can plan that. Yeah, I heard it was amazing. Jealous. I'm glad that you went and had a great time with fam, Luke. That's some memories you won't ever release.
No, and that's the one thing that, like, my brother and dad and I all said afterwards. It was like, even though, because you always wonder, like, okay, they lost, so
yeah,
we still would have went. I mean, like, it was so much fun. The memories that we have, just like, and it was a quick, 2.5 days, like, wild. Now that's their crazy thing. Like, there's a lot of Grizz fans that are, I think most of them are home now, but a lot of them got stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming in and stuff, where they were trying to drive or get out of the airport. It was like, my flight got delayed 2.5 hours.
Yep.
At one point, there was a line of planes out there on the runway. They weren't letting them take off because of the weather, and I think the ceiling had dropped too low. And then it opened up a little bit, and the planes were just going as fast as they could. And then it shut down again. So I think there's some Griz fans stuck there till Friday, like because of just flights. And then that other thing happened where they grounded all the 737s because of fuselage. So a bunch of stuff just threw things for the ringer and stuff. But
well, I know Eric, friend of the pod, where Witz was snowed in. He said that there was like blizzard conditions, like 70 miles an hour wind and snow.
Just north of the Panhandle, basically.
Yeah, that's nuts. I didn't know that they got that much.
I don't think they normally do. Like that was one thing. Like the locals, when we ask them, they were like, "This is way cold. This isn't normal." Like they were all saying it's way colder than it should be down there.
Really? Like the day of and stuff?
Well, I mean, yeah, even like the day of was more normal, but I think that in the nights, getting like in the 30s, they're not used to that. They're like, this is not, they're used to like 60s and stuff, I think. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I think last I saw Eric, I think he's made it to Cheyenne, Wyoming now. Making the trek all the way back. But like, there's other people, like I said, are still waiting to fly out because flights got canceled. And I do have one funny story though. So there was and I don't know the guy's name because I didn't ask him, but there was a guy who had a Griz flag and a Washington Huskies flag.
Oh,
posted. And so I was like, he's at his own little tailgate. I was like, hey, I'm gonna just go ask this guy, see if he's going to both games because I thought, you're close. It's in Houston. So I went over and asked. The guy's like, yeah, I am. I was like, anybody else? And then the other guy goes, yeah, I want to go, but she won't let me. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh crap.
Oh, no.
She's like, you can go. And I was like, oh crap. I didn't mean to start that fight. It's like I felt like I walked in through a grenade and was like, all right, see ya.
See you later.
Like, oh crap. So I don't know if that guy went or not, but there was a little fight going on. And
oh, that's awesome.
I hope we got to go. I mean, it's like if you're gonna get in trouble, might as well go all the way, man.
Well, man, like who knows? That's once in a lifetime opportunity. You never know when they'll be back. And my dad's a Michigan fan, so I would give him a hard time. I'm like, yeah, you won it, but now they're going to take it away from you. So.
I know, right? That's the truth. There's the asterisk going to take it away. Or, I was rooting for Washington actually, and neither one of the teams I was hoping for took it. But it's what it is. So I mean that, and we'll get into the game here. But that Jacks team, that's one of the top, I think, ever FCS teams. I mean, I was thinking about their offensive line, how many of those guys are going to go pro. And,
oh yeah. At least half of them.
We'll see. The transfer portal, I'm sure people are wondering, is open until Friday for all the championship teams. You get 5 days after the game. So hopefully we don't lose any more. We'll talk about who we lost earlier, but the rumors I keep hearing from the Jacks fans, they think Gronowski's gone. Like for sure.
See, I've been hearing that too, and I've been hearing that their OC is going to go too.
Heard that. Now I think that may be true because this afternoon they just hired the OC from UND.
Okay.
And they haven't announced what position he's to be taking, but I have heard the OC for the Jacks is going to Northwestern.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I know Gronowski is from Illinois.
Yeah.
So like that would be back home. So
yeah, and then I've also heard the Twins might be leaving too. I've heard from
that's fine. Those wide receivers, they weren't like fast, but man alive, those guys were physical as all get out. Like they said they were recruited as linebackers, and they definitely had the body of a linebacker. Right. Goodness, I was like, those guys' arms are huge for wide receivers.
That's one thing for sure. On both sides of the ball, they let them play. I mean, there was some PI going on, especially against us. It felt like a lot
of gosh. That one that was on Bergen where the guy had his hand over his neck.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you not see that? That's right in front of you. How do you not see that? But
the refs just weren't calling because there was even some like offsides on us they didn't call. And there was just it's like they just put their flags in their pocket unless it was so blatant. I mean, there were some felt like they were so blatant they should be, but did you hear? So we were wondering, and I didn't hear where the officiating crew is from.
Southland.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
so not the greatest conference.
So like, I guess that's one thing I don't understand why the NCAA wouldn't do something like this. Like, okay, you've got 2 championship games left.
Yeah.
Why pull from the big sky? I mean, unless it's like for them, they feel like, oh, we gotta, award the best officiating crew. Well, why not pull your best officiating crew, period. Like the best two should be at the FBS and the FCS. Pull the best two crews.
Or just use one. Just use one.
Or just, I mean,
the best one and goes to each
have
one
or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I don't understand why they're like, oh, we have to keep it in the FCS. It's like, rules are the same. Why not pull the best for these games? But
yeah. Well, from the fans sitting at home, and I've got to go over this because it was ridiculous. Like the atmosphere looked amazing. It sounded amazing. ESPN, all year we've been praising ESPN Plus.
Right.
They did a horrible job of doing this national championship game. The pregame, they had zero content, zero talk about the game. They were going over Michigan and Washington pregame throughout. Then they're like, oh, we've got, we're sending you to the national championship game against Montana and the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, and they sent you there. Then the announcers there did maybe 5 minutes, and then they kicked off. Okay. There was multiple times during the game where it was a 4th and down or a 3rd down, and they went back from like a commercial.
Yeah.
Or they were going from quarter to quarter, where we went back late and there was 25 seconds or 20 seconds off the clock. And we were like the stop on the goal line.
Yeah.
I didn't see.
Oh my gosh.
They were like, oh, and they brought it back right when Gilman got hit. And I'm like,
yeah,
what the heck happened? And they replayed it. But I'm like, and then also go into halftime. And they have the score there, and they're like, welcome to the halftime show. And they go right into Michigan, Washington for the whole halftime. They have 30 seconds, 30, maybe 45 at the most, 30, 45 seconds of a halftime. And I'm pissed. So I get on Twitter and I start going at a ESPN. They had Charlie Baker, the NCAA president. I get him on there, and I send I can't believe you guys redid your contract with ESPN for the national championship games when they don't promote these two teams that have made. This is hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Reward these fan bases and reward these
FCS fans and stuff. It's like
exactly.
You have, I mean, after the game and all the next day, they were talking about Michigan and Washington as it was. So it's like, why not give us just this little?
Give us that day. Give us the date. And then they've been going against Michigan and Washington for a week. Seriously?
Well, that's another thing too. Why we have to play that game on Sunday afternoon, going up against the NFL schedule.
Yep.
It should be on a Saturday night, I think.
Saturday night, yeah. Well, and then
game and
it pissed me off. I was like I know I was on there texting the NCAA and Charlie Baker. I know Brenton Wahlberg, who's on the other Griz Fan pod, was doing the same thing. There's a couple people that were doing the same thing. We're all sitting at home pissed off at these pregame and post game. And
so during the game, if you had friends at the game trying to text you, that was the one thing I'll say. Cell service was awful.
Oh, okay.
In the parking lot. At the game, I kept losing my signal completely. It just said SOS on my phone.
Oh, really?
Other people were. So, in the parking lot, in the before the game at the tailgates, a lot of people were talking, going, "Oh crap, my ticket!" Because the tickets are all based on cell service.
Oh wow!
It was like, "Oh my god, I can't bring up. You can't screenshot them because it redoes itself every 60 seconds." And so a lot of people were worried about that, and luckily, I figured out too. If you just turn your phone on and off right before or go airplane mode and back off, it'll get you service for a little bit. And so I did that right as I was going through the gate so I could get scanned. Because once you're in, you're in. But a lot of people were worried about that because there was so many people you couldn't get text in or out. I mean, it was it was wild.
That's crazy.
We had that at the Fan Fest too. People were like, we were trying to text each other, and it was texts weren't going through. It was there was too many people at once to handle the coverage or something. It was wild. I know that was a topic for a while. What if we can't get in because of this? And
oh gosh, that would have freaked me out.
Everybody got in. It was very smooth getting in, but it was fun. Where I'm going with that is after the game when I finally started getting service, I started looking at Twitter and I was like, Oh, bad. Oh, man. The TV crew was kind of really bad because I saw like yours and other people's. It was just like, geez. I'm glad I was down here and watched it in person because it sounds like it was just terrible.
Oh man, it was so disrespectful. Like,
how
and
was Ryan Leaf? Because like I was
see, I
worried about
didn't. They didn't have him on.
he was supposed to be the
That's what I
commentator.
thought. That's what I thought. They didn't have him on. They had they didn't have him on. They had the.
Yeah, he was
I
supposed
want
to
to
be one
say
of the color guys calling the game because he
yeah.
like even showed like his cards that he'd made up and he was wearing his cat shirt and everybody's like, that's bullshit. You know?
I'm wondering if he was the radio.
Oh, maybe.
And they weren't, and it
Like
wasn't TV because they
national
had
radio because
yeah.
Riley and Greg still had their call.
Yeah.
So
I didn't he wasn't on the call. So that's when I was like, when they did the 5 to 10 minutes, I'm like, huh. And like I have no beef with Ryan Leaf. He can be
no, and
a
that's
neighbor
what a lot
fan
of
or
people
whatever.
said. At
But
least it's a Montanan that understands,
yeah,
even though he's
but
claimed
it reminded me of the guy that did the Delaware game.
Yeah.
It looked like that crew. I could be totally opposite, but they did a really good job of doing the game, and they they did a lot more SDSU, but you're going to expect that you're a national champion.
They're defending national champ, so yeah. I agree.
You're gonna get a lot more push and little flavor things on SDSU, but I think they did a really good job. It was just the pregame. There was no postgame. And then halftime.
Did they not go to
horrible.
the trophy presentation or anything like that?
They did. They did do that. They did do that. You saw the lady and whatnot, and they did that. But I would have thought that they had maybe they interviewed the other side because they do that with
right. Yeah.
But no, and I had a hard time getting to like actual press conferences.
Yeah. I had a lot of us were trying to get to the press conference, and all we saw was stuff that like Rainey and Kyle Hansen posted and things like that, and Skyline. So
yeah.
So,
but other than that, it was a great time. But you want any last kind of things before we kind of go into this game?
I guess one more comment about the coverage and stuff. Like, why not? I mean, so I guess I'm looking back and I think about one of the best coverages I've seen was when they did the NDSU Griz game when Musburger and Jesse Palmer did.
Oh my gosh.
They killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? This is the championship game. Even if the Griz weren't playing,
get
those two. Like,
definitely. And I know Jesse Palmer would do it again. He loved
doing it. And he would totally do it. It's like, do it. And if it has to do with the fact that the FCS game is on Sunday and the FBS one's on Monday, put it a week before. I did see something now that like with the new contract, it's going to be the first weekend after the New Year is when it's going to be from now on. So like wherever New Year's live, that's the first weekend is when, and whether it'll be Saturday or Sunday, that I've heard there's rumors that could change. They could put it Saturday if they wanted to.
I hope they put it.
It's all Saturday. Up to TV for some reason. It's like, if it is up to TV, well, ABC, why would you want to compete with the NFL?
Put it. Well, the only thing on that last week though, the last week of the playoff or last week of the regular season, weren't there games on Saturday and Sunday?
There were, but there was only 2 games on Saturday.
Yeah.
So not everybody's gonna watch those 2 NFL games. Yeah. You're better. I feel like you got a better chance. But anyways, you got talent there that would be willing to do these.
Yeah.
And not saying that these guys did a bad job, but I mean, like, just bring it. It's like this is a big deal for us. Like, and for like
a lot. If you don't want to do it Saturday, do it Friday night.
Yeah, they used to.
Right?
They used to be a Friday night thing. So
I
don't know. It'll be interesting to see what changes they make and stuff. And in the end, they probably won't change the date thing.
Well, and going off of that, I did get I commented on the numbers. Sorry, I'm looking for the numbers here.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so here we go. So it was. Oh, where did it go? 1.04 million viewers.
Oh, for the game, yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the lower watched championship games. So the last year's game was 1.07 versus the Dakotas.
Wow.
The NDSU and neighbor game was 1.32.
Yeah.
And then the SDSU, the Sam Houston was not even a million. So, and then we beat Eastern Washington when they were in it in 2018. But other than that, there's 1.5, 1.5, 1.3, 1.3. The NDSU JMU game was 2.6. So, you know, I don't know. 1 million is still not bad, but it still is kind of disheartening as you put us against the NFL, and that's why you don't do that, and you get a whole lot more fan base there.
The NFL is so big, and it's not so much even like the fan base; it's gambling, man.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's why so many people watch. It's so big because of all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, any last thoughts on the atmosphere in the game?
I mean, shout out to all the Griz fans.
Yep.
I really wish you could have been there, Adam, because it was like,
oh man,
a huge shout out to the people that came up and were like, enjoy the pod, or got a quick selfie with me and stuff, or just
it's awesome.
Shot the crap with me, and stuff about things. And like had one guy come up and talk to me when I was sitting with my dad about stats and like, wanting to know certain things. And so we talked for a while, and I enjoyed it. For everybody that came up and said something, I appreciate it. There was one other cool exchange I had. So I'm standing in line, like early in the morning. I was getting some Powerade for my dad because he was feeling from the night before a little bit. And up in front of me, in front of two people, is Brian Toon. And so we start both talking about our different classes. And then like McDennehy and like some of the coaches we knew, and just like, and things like that. And it was so cool because people sat in between us were like, this is really awesome, you guys. We really enjoyed it. It was like, this is cool. And like, yeah, it was just cool talking to like Brian and just all that. And just, I'd never talked to him before. And stuff, but talking about being on the D line and all that stuff, and just was so much fun. And it was so cool just running into so many of my former buddies and players, and just like everybody being there, and just it was just awesome. And like, we have to go back because there's so many people that didn't get to go that want to go.
Yeah.
And like, I think everybody will come back, and it would be, if it's us and the Jacks again, I mean, prepare for the biggest crowd ever, and hopefully they have that expansion done, because it would be just awesome. And I'd love to have another shot at those guys.
So, I want like we've always said, NDSU right now. That's like I want SDSU. So hopefully they don't lose too many other guys, because you kind of want to beat them at their best.
Right.
And so you hate to see them go because you want to beat them at their best, but can't. With this NIL, it's crazy, man. It's changing sports, definitely.
Yeah, it is. It is changing, but it's with NIL and all that stuff and transfer portal, it sucks when we lose people, but it's next man up sport. I mean, it's always been that way. I mean, it's no different than losing someone to graduation. It's who we got next. So
graduation or injury, you never know. So, all right, guys. Well, like we said, not how we wanted it to end. We ended in a 23-3 loss. A lot of things kind of went not our way. The stats, you look at the stats, and then they're not that bad. Like, we had the same number of first downs, 17 and 17. They were a little bit more balanced. We had 10 passing touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns. The rushing is what killed us.
First downs, I think you mean.
Yeah, first down. Sorry,
not
touchdowns. Not touchdowns. No. My daughter had a touchdown dance all ready to go, and I think maybe that jinxed it because she did not get to do her touchdown dance.
We were so close to multiple times to score and touchdowns right there. I mean, that one, gosh, we were right there. And then they get the ball, and then I thought maybe we'll get a safety. I mean, we were all the fans going, "Come on, safety!" And just
Yeah, when they come out and they'd throw that pass too after that, I was like, whoa, wow. Well, that's a play call there. But now that stop at the goal line, you got to give it to that Adam Bach. That was amazing play. And he had his hand perfectly on the ball where he could, pull his arm back. It was an amazing tackle. I know that Eli probably, is hitting himself, but
well, we thought he was in from where I was sitting. It looked like he was in, and we're like, oh, come on. And it's like,
yeah, if from what I at first I thought he was in, it would have been hard to overturn that.
I've rewatched it. He wasn't, but it was dang close.
It was really close, and I think that's what made it, is that Adam Bach, the linebacker, grabbed his arm in the ball, and he couldn't move that. He couldn't reach over, so he just needed a little bit, inches, to be able to cross that over the goal line, which to me, that was the switch, the momentum turn that really started everything, right? We're down 7-0, that ties it up.
Know. I disagree with you on that. I have another point in the game where I thought was really the point, but
I have two of them. That was the first one. So, going down, guys, rushing yards, that's really kind of the glaring kind of thing where you're like, holy cow. They held us to 47 rushing yards.
Yeah.
They had 188. Over 5.5 yards.
Held them under 200, which is pretty tink. I mean,
yep. So they had 202, but with gloss and stuff, it goes to 188. So, we did passing really well at passing, 212 yards and 175. Total yards, we had 259. They had 363. This says 4 fumbles lost. Or 4 fumbles. We only lost 2. Do we have 4 fumbles?
Well, one we got back.
So McDowell had one, right?
Yeah.
And Fonz had one.
I thought there was only 3.
So
I thought there was another one that popped out, but I have only rewatched the first half. I haven't rewatched the second half.
I can't remember 4. I thought there was only 3, but could be wrong. That's what that says. 4 fumbles, only 2 of them lost. We did really well. They beat them on punting. We beat them on kicking. Yeah. The one thing that they did really well with punting is they had 6 punts inside the 20. Yeah. A lot of those punts were really directed to kind of either bottleneck Bergen where he couldn't, or they put it up high where he had no chance of being able to return it.
Catch it, basically.
Yep. Or they had him where it was, again, like right on the outside, and it was right at the 5-yard line. Kick returns, they just didn't kick to him. They kicked to Garrett. He got hurt, and then they put Eli back there, and were kicking to Eli. So, it was a really good game plan, and that was going to be something that was going to be what we needed to do, is break something off there. And they played it perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. That was the one thing, like, for us, I noticed, like, we were missing tackles at times, or dropping balls, or just like, it was just like these little things that, again, we said we have to play the perfect game if we want to win this.
Yep.
Well, SDSU, their pursuit to the ball, their tackles, like, they just weren't missing stuff much. I mean, they weren't. And that really, I think, helped change the game and stuff. And it just made it more difficult. Now, that being said, I was talking to some different people at halftime, and we, a friend of mine named Shane, we were talking, and it was like, if you would have told me going in, it'll be 7-3 at halftime, and you're getting the ball in the second half.
Yeah.
Heck yes. Give me that every day against South Dakota State.
Exactly.
So we were saying that at halftime, going, man, we're in this. I mean, even though we drove down, didn't get a touchdown, we did this, and it was like, but we were still in it. I mean, we had the pick there in the first half, and it was like, and Gronowski doesn't get picked. So
no, we don't.
So no. It felt like, it was like, man, we're still in it. If we can get this drive going and do something in the second half, well, that was going to be huge. And then my changing point of the game was when we fumbled that we're driving, we're going, and like I said, I haven't watched the second half, but it did not look like a fumble. It looked like he was down.
Oh, it was a fumble.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I reviewed it, and it was like, Well, we thought because they called him down and everything, we're like, oh man, how are they going to overturn this? So if they did, I was like, it must be blatant because they weren't showing replays to us in the damn game, so no one knew.
So the only thing that I thought that they could like reverse, like not reverse it, is that when he's going down, he got it hit and it started getting loosening, and it was kind of coming out. Well, before he hit the ground, he put his arm on it to kind of secure it. It was still like kind of out, but he had his arm on it, and then he went down, and then it went out. So I was like, maybe they're gonna allow him to have that arm on it and still control it. Exactly.
Right.
And then the ground caused the fumble. Well, it was so fast that I think that they were just like, yeah, it was coming out beforehand. He didn't get his arm on it to really secure it.
Not repossessed, sure.
That was a hard play, and that was my second one that took the momentum of the game. Is, you know, one of those things that we had to have is Gronkowski threw that interception. We didn't get points. I think we got maybe 3 points off of that, right? We got a field goal. And you know, we get them to turn over the ball twice, and we get 3 points. That we just can't do that. That first drive, as well, as like you were saying, Luke, we had so many missed tackles, and that's so unlike our team. Well, you go into that and you're like, oh, I really feel uneasy about this, guys.
Yeah, it was wild how many arm tackles or would go to tackle. It was the second guy, you know, like if we would have tackled him right there, they'd been
a loss.
You know, we were keeping him behind the chains, and that was going to help us so much. It was those just those things that, you know, and that's so the reason I said that fumble there at the beginning of the second half was my game changer, is that it felt like after that, we just kept tripping over ourselves. It was just like, oh, we get close and then something else would happen and something else would happen. Like, oh, we're just getting stuck and bottled down, and it snowballed on us is what it felt like to me. I was just like, I mean, even though like there was still like, you know, glimpses of, oh, wait, we might be able to. It was just like, oh, something else would happen. We just couldn't right the ship is what it felt like, totally.
Well, and after that fumble, like they were consistently getting the ball back from us on at least the 40, the 42, the 45. So it flipped,
we could never
flip the field. It flipped the field dramatically after that. And with that team, you can't do that. In the time of possession, we had the ball 29 minutes and 50 seconds. They had it for 30 and 10, in which we thought going into it, you know, you're going to have to be able to have that ball for a while, and kind of secure it so their offense doesn't have it. You know, we had more conversions for third down, 4 of 16 with third down, and they had 4 of 11. They just were a machine when it was third down. There was a lot of plays where Gronkowski just made a play. And, you know, some of the catches that they made on third down where the throws that he made, I can see why if he goes FBS, where he can be an FBS quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And he still has 2 years of eligibility.
That's why a lot of the Jacks fans thinks he's gone. I mean, he's talented. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in a while in the FCS. He's very, very good.
So,
although I couldn't. So during the game when I was watching it in the stands, it felt like Governor was getting held all the time, and the fact that his jersey was ripped to pieces and falling off of him, it was like, how is there not a holding call?
At
all against, you know, they knew Gubbs was going to be a force, and they did everything and cheated and did everything they could to stop him. I mean,
Grimsrud got called for a holding. And his holding was not that bad. Like he got called for it because he had his hands on the outside instead of on the inside, and then he put him to the ground. But like that happens all the time. You can bring him to the ground. It's just where his hands were. But
we were sitting right behind us were 2 of his relatives sitting right behind.
Oh, really?
Grimsrud's journeys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But to see Governor's like jersey just like ripped, like practically ripped off him. There were scratches on him all over the place. I was really impressed with him.
He was a warrior. Gubbs has been a warrior all year. Just, I mean, the D-line is a special place in my heart, you know, but man, Gubbs, I mean, not that any of the players ever listen to this stuff. But,
hey, you never know. We hope so.
Gubbs is the man, and like he is going to be truly missed on this team.
Oh yeah.
Ever since he was a freshman, catching interceptions,
Yep.
backing out to this year where, he got player of the year, Big Sky defensive player of the year. And I just hope he gets a shot in the league because that guy he's a beast. And
I think he would. I think
he will. I think he's got the talent.
Yeah.
But it's just, gosh, it'd be hard to replace Gubbs. I mean, that's I start thinking about next year. I'm like, he's the one of the guys that I'm like, whew, man. I mean, he was such a force in the middle there for us that it'll be interesting to see if we get a transfer to come in for that or what, because we could still use a little beef on that D line for us.
Well, yeah, and you've got News coming back, and he did a really good job of coming back, and then you got to praise him for doing the work to get back after his injury. And I know that we have Jared Ramos, and he's a bigger guy, 280, I think, but he's young as well. So I think they've got to bring somebody in, a transfer, just to be able to do that. So, but yeah, this game, you look at fourth down, we were 2 of 5, and it kind of at the later parts of that game, we kind of had to. He sacked us 5 times, which some of those sacks were McDowell kind of went into the sacks and kind of, which was kind of sad. And a lot of those sacks were because McDowell, for some reason, he got hurt. I don't know if it was on that where he got spun and
that was.
flipped.
I mean, he had a hell of an effort play there, diving, and it reminded the old John Elway where he gets hit and helicoptered. That. But yeah, he felt like he was banged up.
Yeah, he just wasn't able to run like he used to.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was just something with his legs, if he was tired, if it was something.
Yeah, hard to say.
I don't know. But he was 22 of 39, 165 with 1 interception, 4 sacks.
There was a couple of plays too, and I don't know if it was the play they were running or whatever the call was, but there was one where Junior Bergen's open wide in the end zone.
Oh yeah,
just got missed, and we still had the completion there, but it was just like, oh my gosh! Like rewatch. I didn't see it during the game. Rewatched, and I was like, holy cow! Well, it's like anything you rewatch, you're like, oh, if I could have done this or could have done that. And it's just, it just felt like. Again, we just kept missing one little thing here or there. Or just couldn't put us. It's like, God, if we could get that, imagine being 10-7, going to the halftime or something.
Oh, yeah.
That would flip everything because then all of a sudden South Dakota State's going, whoa.
14-7.
Yeah. I mean, it just flips that whole narrative and really that momentum swing and stuff. It's a real thing, the momentum and the confidence and stuff. And I mean, our guys they played their tails off, but it just, just couldn't find that one extra thing to get past.
Well, and I think that that team, the Jackrabbits, that team has not faced really, and they may have faced adversity, but they have not been really down, and felt like, hey, the pressure of, hey, this team's playing with us. We've got a game on our hands. Yeah. They really didn't feel that all year. I thought that if we could just make it like that for the third quarter, that we could have a chance to kind of do that. And I would like to see them kind of face that adversity. But it just didn't happen.
Think about their defense and what they did through the playoffs. I mean, they just didn't allow points. It's just, that's crazy.
And their defense was really good. Like that was an amazing defense. You look at their rushing, right?
Yeah.
Our running backs had a total of 47 yards. Eli ran for 7 for 19 or 7 for 18. Osmo had 6 for 18. Harris, I'm proud of him. He had 2 for 15. He could have just this year, he didn't get all the reps that you think that he might have had, but he stayed in the game. And that's probably one of the most hard things to do is when your number's not being called, stay in it, do the work. So a shout out to him because, he could have just packed it in and he didn't. So,
big time.
McDowell had 13 for 32. Then Ayat had 2 for -6 because of the sacks, I believe.
Right.
So, but not much going on the run game. And we thought that, McDowell had to have a good game using his legs to kind of open that rushing.
Yeah.
And especially it did not happen.
If we got kind of like I was thinking like the Furman game where we got held up on the run, but we still had McDowell out there able to use his legs to get some run game going. So, and they just, they bottled us up.
Yeah, they did. So that meant us passing a lot more. So Fonz had the game, 7 receptions for 76 yards. Osmo had 5 catches. Eli had 5 catches. Bergen only had 4. So
Fonz didn't have the game that I told his mom that he was going to have.
oh, what'd you tell his mom?
I told her that he'd have at least 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards receiving. I was like, I got a feeling about Fonz today, and he's our best receiver, but not as much as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah. I really thought, Keelan was a lot more open in that game too. So it's going to be interesting what happens next year. I just, from what we've heard, this wide receiving crew is kind of sticking together, and anything can happen. But
yeah, I mean, we still have a few days left of the portal, but
yeah,
the things that we're hearing, Bergen, White, Fonts are all wanting to stay and want to keep being Griz. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah. So other than that, you kind of who's going to be the rushing leaders on the other side. Isaiah Davis was a beast. I'm surprised.
NFL.
Yeah, he's a good back. Yeah. He had 16 attempts for 87 yards. He over 5 yards. They could have ran him a whole lot more than they did. Which that Amar Johnson was a good back too, a little bit faster. And then their wide receivers I was really impressed with the Janky boys.
Janky twins,
yeah, they were they did a really good job. So,
rumor is they're leaving too. So,
yeah. Hey, wow,
good for us. Stupid transfer portal, though. I mean, it's just everybody's got to deal with it now. It's just it's a thing. So.
Yep, it's a new beast. So you got to support the causes of the NIL to keep the players that you have there, and the people that are going to be able to keep their players are going to be there in the end. So
earlier I was telling you, the text and stuff didn't work during the game.
Yeah.
So when I left the stadium, my text finally worked. I had 111 texts.
And again, half of them were not from me.
No, they were from
maybe 10 of them were from me.
They were from some for you friends, but also a lot of Jacks fans that I know in South Dakota. So, and some Bison fans too, going, "Come on, man, you were supposed to beat them." And this, So,
yeah, I got a lot of cold shoulders here. A lot of neighbor fans texting me or finding me on Facebook too. Like, why? Like, I don't get it. Like,
they just have such a big brother complex that they have to anytime they can try to
little
hate
brother.
It's like, little brother. Yeah, whatever the hell it is. They just live rent free in their heads, and they just can't ever not stop thinking about us. Or
it's incredible. Like, just like the fact, like, I would never think if my rival lost in a championship game, I wouldn't go legitimately out.
When it happened, I have friends that are Cat fans, and it's like when they lost, I was just like, "Oh man, that sucks."
Yeah, like, doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
but
one thing we forgot to talk about.
Yeah,
I want to bring up is another congratulations to Eli Gilman. Got to meet Jerry Rice. Got the Jerry Rice Award. I mean, that is so cool. Looks like his whole family got to meet Jerry Rice. I think it's so cool that he does that he shows up and gives the award himself, and they get to meet the greatest receiver of all time. I just think it's so cool that he's down with the FCS because he played there and still gives the award out, and it's so neat that he does that. So
yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, so congrats to Eli for getting that award and be able to be down there and get it and then play the next day. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have Eli on and just get what was the conversation like, right? Because you always
that would be cool.
Yeah, just to see what he said or anything like that. So
it's Jerry Rice,
Yeah.
He seems like a super cool guy.
Yeah. Well, guys, it didn't happen the way we wanted. I think that we've got the pieces going forward. To make another run at this next year. If you have not seen the schedule is out. If you haven't seen it, the schedule looks favorable. Knock on wood,
Yeah.
which is nice. You've got 7 home games.
Yeah, I printed it off today too because I was just like, I thought maybe we'd run through it tonight and go through it real quick and just see.
So August 31st, you got Missouri State coming to town.
Yep.
They did lose their head coach. Petrino's not there anymore, right?
Nope, I'm calling W.
Then you go to North Dakota, September 7th. Grand Forks. They've lost.
W.
Don't they have didn't they lose their quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. Well, and they just lost their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
To South Dakota State.
So. Yeah. So some turbulence there.
That could definitely be a good. I think that'll be a ranked opponent.
Oh yeah, I definitely
think they could be ranked because they were up there towards the end. I'm not saying like top 10, but I think that they'll be ranked the top 25 when we play them. But I still say W.
And then you got Morehead State, September 14th. Big W there. The one game that I'm looking forward to that I think that would be a good game is that next week, Western Carolina.
I don't know much about them at all.
They had a pretty good year, and then they kind of fell apart late in the year. So that's a game that I'm kind of asking that might be a good kind of barometer of where we're at. I would expect them to be probably a top 25 team.
Okay.
So then
I'm still going to say W.
I would say W there too. Then you go into Big Sky play, right? At Eastern Washington.
Okay. We have a hard time playing Cheney.
Mm-hmm.
Like we haven't won there. But Eastern, I mean, they've been having some. I mean, I'm surprised that they're playing. Like we keep hearing the financial issues they have to D2 or something. So I'm going to go ahead and call the W there.
I would say that's a W.
Revenge games that we haven't got to do yet. So yeah.
Yeah. Next week you're home against Weber State. That's going to be a tough game.
I think it's going to be a tough game. I think they're going to be ranked. I think it's going to be a ranked.
Weber State's going to come back with a passion of like they didn't have the year that they wanted last year. That I think they're going to be a good team.
I think you're right. I think they very well could be. I'm still going to call W.
The next week we got Northern Arizona. I think that's going to be a revenge.
Yeah, game. we got some stuff we need to do there. So I think so too.
Also, they've got a new coach as well. So
right, I thought their coach left.
Yeah. Northern Colorado.
I'm going to this game.
Are you really?
Well, so it's only like 5 hours from here. So I went last time. It was so much fun. Like Griz fans, because there's a ton of Griz fans live in Denver area.
Okay, yeah.
They all show up for it. And so like we pack the small side of the stadium and just they sell beer there too. So everybody had so much fun last time. So I'm definitely in that game again.
That's awesome. I think that team will be better than what they were last year. So I still think that's going to be a win.
Yeah.
At Cal Poly, always traveling to the California kind of like is always kind of leery with me.
It is, but this is not the Cal Poly of the triple option that we used to struggle with.
So. No, and they're in definitely a rebuilding year, and I think that's going to take a couple years to do.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a win there too.
Yep, I agree.
UC Davis, this is kind of weird because we've got all the teams that kind of are like going through either rebuilding or like coaching changes, right?
Yeah, it's Davis coaching change.
Yeah, coaching change.
And we get them in Griz, so I'm calling W.
Yeah. Portland State at home, that could be kind of a sleeper game right before the brawl.
But we worry about that, but Bobby's undefeated before the brawl.
Exactly, I know, right?
W.
And then the last game, you got the Neighbors.
Yeah.
In Bozeman.
That's going to be the toughest game.
That's the toughest game. None of these teams in the last 4 years have won a game that has been at the home. The home team always has won.
Right. And we're just going to be that team that changes that. So W.
So you're looking.
I've got them undefeated. Going 12-0.
Knock on wood.
So knock on wood. So that could be the case. Now if I take my maroon glasses off here and do like a worst case, other thing I want to say is there's a good chance that we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranked games.
Yeah.
Because North Dakota could be ranked, Western Carolina, Eastern could possibly be ranked in that lower top 20 top. You just never know with them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're in, sometimes they're out. So that's a question. Weber should be ranked.
Yep.
Oh, shoot, I forgot. Davis could be ranked. And Montana State. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, possibly 6 ranked games.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool because that helps elevate. We want those games. Elevates us, in the playoff and the seeding and all that stuff. Yep. We should be ranked high when we come in the season. So best case, we're 12-0. Worst case,
10-2.
10-2 or 9-3. Worst case.
So
absolutely, I'm gonna say 10-2. Worst case.
I would say 10.
The games I put question marks on are like the Montana State game, Weber and Eastern.
Yeah.
Even Davis, I mean, not really. I don't know. I just don't know what Weber's going to be, and I don't know what Eastern's going to be. We know Montana State will be good again next year because they used to have a lot of people coming back. And but
and you just never know with Davis. Like,
even that being said,
who's going to be there?
Worst case 9-3, that's still playoffs.
It is still playoffs.
I mean, so I think we have a shot to win the Big Sky again and make it all the way back to the chipper, especially the way this schedule lays out. So
yeah, I definitely think so too.
Just need to be healthy. So
that's the thing is if you can make your season going into the playoffs and you can get healthy and you can get home field throughout the playoffs and you can get a weekend break there, you're set up.
Especially for us, the home field. Look what it did for us this year. I mean, it's huge. It's such a huge advantage. It's part of the reason North Dakota State did so well for so long. They're always playing in the Fargo. Whoever, again, it's usually 1 and 2 seeds that make it because of the fact that home field advantage is such an advantage, especially for us because Griz is such a special place.
Exactly.
So, but it lays out pretty good. Now, all that being said, we just found out Clifton McDowell's not going to be around next year.
Yeah, that just blew up right before we were recording. So this is a Tuesday night that we're recording. It blew up that he is transferring, which, Luke and I, we text each other every day. Like, what do you hear? What do you hear? Yeah. Like, we heard yesterday that he was like, maybe like I thought right reading the text he was staying.
Well, that's his first comment was like after the game was like, keep stacking, wait till next year. And it felt like he was coming back. And then overnight, because they only get, like we said, the 5 days here. They have till Friday for any transfers. It flips. So it surprised me.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, like we said, with NIL and other things out there, who knows if he has an offer that he can't refuse. Now, with Clifton, he's been Louisiana Lafayette, Central Arkansas, here. Maybe he don't like the cold. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded like he liked the mountains and thought it was a pretty cool place. And, he was doing some different things with the local kids. But who knows what? I mean, there's all those things that, like, we don't see on their side, personal reasons that you have no idea why someone might transfer and stuff. And so,
and I know his family is, in Texas.
Well, he's from Texas. Yeah. I mean,
that's got to be hard too with being away from family.
And maybe wherever he ends up will shed more light.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on. But the one good thing is, like, I've seen on Twitter and Facebook and everything, everybody's wishing him well.
Yeah.
And like,
and they should. They're
he did amazing. Everybody's like, thank you for the year.
Yeah.
Because it was a fun year watching him play. And like, that's why I wore my Battle of the Brawl shirt. I mean, I'll continue to wear this. This is cool as heck that he little NIL thing he did and stuff. And I would just want to say thank you to Clifton for such a great year. It was a fun year. I always say, once a Griz, always a Griz.
Yep. If
you just played for 1 year, unless you go to the neighbors, then
we
just had to turncoat and go there, then you're done. But, no, it was awesome for us to have the opportunity to watch him play for that year. And so, now that he's gone, what do we got next? Well, we got a yacht coming up, and he has a lot of upside.
He does, and he looked pretty good in the little bit about of what they were doing in the championship game. Now, they weren't really opening up the playbook. They were kind of being cautious with it. But I think that, the stars are aligning that they think he's the guy.
Well, and
in the
you keep
future.
hearing that out of Bobby too, like the future's with Ayat, and
Yeah,
it looks that way to me. Like,
yeah,
he looks the part. Like,
yeah,
he looks like he has that sixth sense when the guy's coming. He makes the step, and
yep,
he throws a beautiful ball. And it's like, okay, and you know how Bobby is. Maybe Clifton was like, Bobby's like, all right, no start. I mean, every year he's like, nope, no one has a starting position. Everybody's got to compete again. That's his thing.
yep.
Who knows? I have more of a feeling like it's possible that Clifton got a deal somewhere, and
Maybe we're bringing somebody in, and
yeah, or maybe that's it too, because we did
So.
see today that Keaton posted like 2 different things that we got more firepower coming in, and
Yep.
Who knows? It's hard to say, but we'll probably find out something more in the next few days.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that we haven't discussed, but Cole Grossman will be back next year.
I know, right?
That's going to be huge. And
Oh
he's
my
gonna be
gosh.
healthy, and man, having a tight end like that, where he's like Travis Kelce out there. It's
having that threat.
Yeah,
and then having him back and not being. Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that, and I thought maybe he was going to come back during the
know.
playoffs. I was just hoping
he
that
put
he
that
could.
video out of him like training.
Yeah,
It's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah,
he was looking good, and so
looking good. Yeah,
the thing about going to a national championship and losing, you get that taste. And what happened to us in 2000? It's like, all right, we got to go back. We got to go back. And so, we lost Drew Miller to graduation and some other really good players like Jimmy Ferris and stuff. And, but then the next year we got John in there, Edwards, we still had Yo, and, you put the pieces together. I mean, that's just it. When one person either graduates or leaves, next man up, and championship teams will do that and figure out a way. And now that they've had that taste, hopefully we don't lose too many more. There's a couple more days of transfer period left, but we got some good people coming in, and man, I think that we're going to see, we could see another run next year. I just
think that like you said, that makes you hungry, right? You didn't do as well in the championship game. You got to come back, and you're going to be watching film and doing lifting, and like, oh man, we were so close.
We were so close. It was there for the taking, and you didn't get it. So that is the kind of motivation that just motivates you. I mean, like,
oh yeah.
Next thing you know, you're in. I mean, there's so many posts I see is like 2024 is here. We're ready, and so like they're gonna go into winter condo and just work even harder because they're like, okay, we were there. All right, we got to push ourselves even that much harder to get there. And spring ball, I mean, like they are gonna, like, it wouldn't surprise if the whole team stays in the summer to work together. And it's like being that close and not getting there, it just motivates you more than ever to get back.
Yeah. Well, and just some of the things that happened in that game, right? Eli Gilman, right? Not making that touchdown, but so very close. Does that make him pissed off and just wanting to do
freshman
more?
Freshman Eli Gilman.
Exactly.
Like, give him more time in the weight room and more experience. Jeez, I can't.
Yeah.
He's just, his upside is just, he's just climbing.
Yeah. So, and then you got like the wide receivers too. One guy that's not getting the push. You got Racanelli.
Oh yeah, Sawyer.
Yeah. So, and he was in sparingly. One of the kind of areas, and we'll do breakdowns, guys, of all the things is probably going to be that defensive line and probably the linebacker core, like who steps up, right? You don't really worry about the linebackers. You just kind of think about who's going to step up.
Oh God, this is this, and then 3 more guys step up, and it's like, we're linebacker you. I forget.
So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this offseason. Okay, so I've got 2 things for you, right?
Okay, all right.
One thing I would like them to do, and one thing they should have done. Okay. One thing they should have done is they should have opened season tickets today. After the national championship game, they should have opened those the day after.
I agree with you. They totally should. The fact that you said that, you know how many people I heard as we were leaving? I'm up on my season tickets as soon as I can. I'm re-upping them.
They should have done it today, right after. They should have done it on Monday, the day after. Like, people would have flown. One thing, so that was the thing that they should have done. Well, I can't even remember what my last one was. Crap. My brain is gone.
Well, here's one thing I know that'll happen next year too, especially if we make it back to the national championship. QB club members are going to go through the roof because you get early access if you're a QB club member to the tickets to the game in the Griz section and all that.
Oh, wow.
So, and like this year they did it too. They're like, oh, you can join right now if you want. We'll take your money. The other thing I think we'll see go up too is the whole, the good old Grizzlies things.
Yeah.
Brian McLaughlin's working. He's a national sports writer. He's helping with that, writing pieces. Sammy's putting out content for it too. So it's like, and if you donate to that, the money goes back to the players. And
exactly.
I'm actually waiting at the moment because we're still waiting for what Hauck was supposed to tell us about what we're supposed to do with either, because like they were talking about combining QB club and good old Grizzlies. So if you made a certain amount of donation of that, it would count towards QB club and you as your
admission or whatever.
Yeah. So if I hear about that, we will be sure to tell everybody about that.
Exactly.
So know how that's going to work and go down and stuff. But that's the other big question too, is Bobby. We all know,
Well, before that, the one I finally remembered what I was going to say. For a spring game, right? To all the people that can't go to the spring game, put the spring game as a pay-per-view, right? Right?
Put it on ESPN Plus.
Okay.
I like your idea, pay-per-view. Yeah.
Pay-per-view. So they have to pay for it. All that money goes to the NIL.
That's a smart.
Right. So to boost all that stuff up, I'm just thinking about these things. I got way too much time on my hands.
We need to tell
Tabes that
about it.
Yeah.
Colson runs QB Club, or
okay, there you go.
Or even better, just tell Marcus.
Marcus,
there you go. This is what you should do.
There you go. Go talk to Bobby.
Well, Bobby, they can't be a part of it. Like, they can just promote us to NIL. Like, it's weird
okay.
That whole thing works, but like they could totally do that somehow. Like, got to be a way.
Yeah. So, well, the athletic director has to have some, like,
there's some tie there.
Somebody has to have some tie-in with that, right? It might not be the head coach.
It's weird, like the rules on it and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But anyways, when you were getting to the
I was just saying, like, we still haven't heard. I'm sure people were questioning, like, Bobby, this was the end of his contract. So what's going on there? The insider stuff I hear is they're working on it. It's close. Yeah. So I've said this all year. I feel like Bobby bet on himself and was like, let's just wait. Let's wait to negotiate until I show you what we can do. And maybe he's like, because historically we've always given like coaches like 3-year contracts. It feels like, 2 or 3 years or 1-year extensions. Maybe he's like, you know what, I want a 10-year contract. That's what I want. I want. If he wants to retire, it's like, look, I want to retire in 10 years. Like, this is just hypothetical. Maybe he's like, in 10 years I'll be ready to retire. I want a 10-year contract. What do you say to that? Yeah. Okay. Here you go. I mean, what are you going to say? You're not going to say no. Everything's up. This is the best season ticket holders we've ever seen. We've seen more QB club members than ever. Yep. When you start going to national championships, I remember in like 90s and 2000s, all of a sudden new buildings start popping up around the freaking campus and stuff. I mean, it just snowballs everything. Tuition, attendance for this university goes up. Everything just start winning like that. Everything starts going in the right direction. So who knows? I'm really interested. And I'm sure we'll hear before signing day, as we may guess, on
what they have to say it before signing day.
They have to do it before signing day is kind of what I think you have to do. So, but everything tells me that he'll be back because he still has to get that monkey off his back. He's got to win a chipper.
So, man, that would weigh on me if I was a coach like that. And you've been to this is his 4th one.
4th or 5th. I can't remember.
And he hasn't done it. And he's been so close. Like the Villanova one pisses me off still that we should have won that one.
Yeah. I mean, us and JMU were the 2 best teams that year.
Oh my gosh. That one really pisses me off. Still to this day. Oh my gosh.
A lot of people.
going into it, we've got fan questions, but just want to let the listeners know, guys, we'll do some off season ones too. We'll do a breakdown of who is coming in with recruits, and then who's coming in as transfers as well, because those are two different ones. I think they kind of separate those as well, as that they've already signed their freshmen. I believe.
I think we're going to see some more transfers come in. There's just, I mean, all that has to be done before
February something.
February, beginning of February here, which is
first week. Yeah,
gonna be here before we know it. So
exactly right. Well, and I think that they start winter conditioning here in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
It should be end of January. It's usually beginning of February, I think, is when they started now.
Okay, I thought it was when they came back from.
Well, I think when you go to the chipper, I think they give them a little bit.
Okay,
I'm not. I would hope so. I thought we got a little bit extra. I think it's beginning of February. I know it's still cold out. So, yeah.
I wonder when the have you heard any updates on the practice facility? I haven't heard anything.
No. When I meant by cold out, we always did winter conditioning inside, but just driving to winter condo, it was always like, God, it's freaking cold inside.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I know it's supposed to be done.
Yeah,
like soon. I haven't heard any updates. So, but we're supposed to have it 100% for next year.
Yeah,
so, because
that's gonna be so good for.
And the reason it got held up and having anything to do with the university had everything to do with like city ordinances and
permits and stuff like that.
Like permits and like things like that are just being in the construction industry. There's things like that happen that no one has control of, that just roll projects off at times and push things out. And you don't. Well, Adam, being in real estate too, things like that happen, and it's just like no one expects it, no one wants it, but okay, now here's the new timeline. So
yeah. Well, guys, we've got some fan questions here. So we've got two. Matt DeBray, at Matt DeBray. How much do you think this playoff run helps with recruiting, even with everything ending on a sour note? As far as I know, like with what Keaton's been doing on Twitter, we've been getting a whole lot before, and today I think we got 3 or 4. And so I think it's going to pay off.
Even if you lose the championship, it helps. Like, it helps to win the whole thing even more. But making it there, that exposure and all that stuff, it's big time.
Exactly. I think it helps no matter what. Even the sour note, I kind of want a sour note going into it, because then it makes the guys kind of want it more, right? Hungry for more. It's a whole different beast when you win it, and you've got to, get yourself back up, right? For that, and not saying that they're gonna not be able to get back up for that, but I totally think that that's gonna help us. So
I agree.
Our next one, our friend Southeast, AK Griz, AK Griz. What a great season! It was awesome getting to know more folks in Griz Nation. Now that the Griz are done, what is everyone looking forward to besides next season? Myself, it's getting my jet boat in the water and doing some steelhead fishing this spring. So, I've got to make it through winter. And winter's coming, and then doing some hiking and just spend some time with family and having some time to just kind of just relax with family, camping and stuff like that. That's what I'm looking forward to. But man, I am looking forward to next season.
Yeah, I am too. And so I hung out with him a lot this weekend. Actually,
that's awesome.
Had a great time. It's amazing how many people him and I know together and stuff. Just our friends, and like he actually at one point, we were hanging out by the alumni tailgate. He left to go to a different tailgate. And then my brother found out some friends that they had a tailgate. And he's like, I want to go see those guys. So we went over there, the same tailgate. And so we hung out some more. They had awesome chili at that tailgate too, by the way.
Ooh.
But
was it rabbit chili?
I don't know. There was a bunch of stuff in it, and it was fabulous. Like, I was like, this is dang good.
Nice.
But like, I feel like I need to go up there to Alaska and go steelhead fishing because that would be awesome.
That would be.
Hell yeah, that would be so cool. But for me,
A jet
like,
boat? Yeah, you count me in.
I'm looking forward to, the spring coming, and I even do some ice fishing here, but more fishing in the spring. Later on, we're going to go to Yellowstone and Tetons over Memorial Day.
Cool.
So that'll be cool. Planning on making a trip to the Bob this summer again to go fishing for bull trout again. So got a lot of stuff on the plate, a lot of outdoor activities and stuff. But the good thing is do stuff like that because it keeps your mind off the season. Because it seems like right now it's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be forever.
I know, right?
First, so
at least we got the spring game, spring practice. That'll kind of keep us busy a little bit.
And I'm sure some of the transfers we get and some of the new signees, even the high school kids, you get a few that will come early to be practice in the spring, and then with Cliff being gone, it's interesting to see what the QB competition will
exactly.
I'll admit, I thought maybe Vidlac might be one that would, if anybody would transfer because of what happened. But maybe he's transferred a lot, like we had talked before, and maybe he's tired of it. He goes, I want to compete. So good on him for wanting to compete. And I feel like again, sky's the limit for Kaylee Ayat. He just has we have 4 years left to him because he saved his red shirt. So this is huge, big time.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things happening, guys. We're gonna be like holding onto our phones to see what happens here until Friday to see who goes and who stays. And so Friday is going to be that last day. But yeah, all signs lead to that we're going to be back. We've got a good year going next year. The schedule is favorable beyond. And really some things cooking here in the next couple months. I think that for the pod are going to be good as well. And content's going to be out there. And I love that McLaughlin is kind of pairing with them too, because just makes even more content out there, guys. Definitely, if you can, go out and support good old Grizzlies in the NIL.
You can sign up without even actually paying
anything.
You just sign up, and then once you pay stuff, you get more content and more content. So there's all sorts of good stuff there. They just keep growing that. It's going to be huge. And I was actually talking to Brian a few times over the last week, and he was telling me he's got a lot of ideas, a lot of stuff coming that he really thinks is going to boost it. So
that's cool.
Excited to see what there, because we're always Grizz fans looking for more content. So
exactly. Well,
I actually have one more thing.
Yes.
Right? We finished our FCS
bracket.
Not the way we wanted. There was a few people that picked SDSU out there. So I threw out the winners on Twitter and on the Montana Grizzly fan page, but I thought I'd throw them out here too. So congratulations to our first place winner with 129 overall points, Sam Whitehead. He is getting the framed fight song wall hanging. I'll be shipping that out to him. In second place, we had D. Simmons. She had 123 points and getting the mini football helmet. So I'll be sending that out. And then in third place was actually a Jack fan. Dan was a good guy. He messaged me when we first started. He's like, hey, I'm a Jacks fan. He actually listens to the pod a lot. And I was like, yeah, you can play. Anybody can play. I just warned him. I was like, the prizes are going to be Grizz prizes. So he took third place, which is a Grizz license plate holder. Dan, being the cool guy, is messaged me today. He's like, hey, I just wanted to play for fun because brackets like this make the season more fun. And you can watch all the games and stuff. So he is donating it to the fourth place person.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which happens to be my mom.
That is awesome.
Eileen Rounds took fourth place so Dan had 121 points. She finished 120.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she's like, I called her and told her that. She's like, I just randomly guessed and picked teams. I was like, I know.
That's usually how it works, doesn't it?
She picked South Dakota State. And at the time, she was just like, well, they were just so good. I had to pick them. I was like, no, I get it. You were right. I wish you weren't. But most of us picked the Grizz, and that's why we were out. So I could never pick against the Grizz, so that's why I did what I picked too. And next year, I hope next year, anyways, we'll do this again.
Yeah,
That was our
definitely,
first
guys.
annual. I will plan on having our second annual bracket challenge next year, and
It's awesome.
I'll come up with some. Now that I know I want to do this, I'll try to figure out some cool prizes, or maybe we can even get some autograph merch or something.
That would be cool if we could
Something like that.
I'll
I'll see what we can pull off, because this one was like last minute, and so I just had to find some prices online. So I'll see if I can come up with some cooler stuff next year for this.
That's awesome.
That we could give away. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Luke, for doing that, guys. If you can get a hold of Luke, definitely give him a shout out. And
my pleasure. I had a fun time doing it, because I like all that stuff like that, and it made it fun for me too, going through it and then doing the scores. And now that I have everything set up, it's going to be even easier next year, because I got spreadsheets and all my stuff created. So yeah.
Well, if the Griz, knock on wood, if the Griz make it to the March Madness, that would be cool too as well.
Yeah, that would
like be cool to do that bracket, because I love some basketball, guys. Basketball is full swing, so we'll definitely do some podcasts there as well. The women's basketball and the men's basketball, so definitely in full swing. But you'll get some content from us in the off season about football as well. Just keep on getting a hold of us. We want to hear from you guys. Get us at Fight on Montana on Instagram and on Twitter. You can find both Luke and I both on Facebook as well, on our Facebook page, our Facebook accounts. But honestly, from the my heart, and I know Luke is the same way, we have conversations all the time. Thanks for listening. This year has probably been our best year, and I think that probably goes with the year that we've had. But the amount of people that have increased on just listening to us and giving us a shout out and communicating with us, it really makes it awesome to do this. We don't do this for money, as Furman people might think, but we don't get paid for this. We do this because we love it. We love talking sports, and it really is awesome to hear from you guys and you guys listening. So we appreciate you.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody. And I was sure feeling the love when I was down at.
That's awesome.
All the people and stuff. So thank you for listening to us do this. It's fun. I enjoy it. So
it is. Well, all we got to say is go Griz, right?
Heck yeah. Go Griz.